Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay, we're starting a new series of videos for those who have been enjoying these Sufi videos. I'm going to go through my own Sufi trajectory from the first Sufi Sheikh I had, who was Pir Vilayat Khan, through several other shiyukh that I've studied with, so you'll get a feeling of the path that I have been on. Okay? But before I describe more of that, I just want to remind people, if you're not aware, that we're doing a retreat, hopefully a serious one, Sufi retreat, 5 days, August 17th to 20th in Arnprior, near Ottawa. And for more details, you'll have to go to our website, which should be indicated beneath in the message or the description. We'll give you the website for those who don't know it. It's SufiPilgrimsProgress.com, but you'll have it written up in the message, hopefully, with all the details of how that works. We've done a couple of other retreats already at that center, which used to be a monastery and now is a kind of spiritual growth center, and we're very pleased with the place. It's a beautiful location and the people are very gracious there, and it's a nice quiet environment in which we can do our Sufi practices with the hope that Allah will give us some openings so we can understand better this way and the nature of the Absolute. This is not a knowledge retreat like they have after RIS. This is not about ilm. This is about marifat, knowing Allah experientially as other than us and as us ultimately. Okay, I won't go into it at length. All of this will be explained at length if you decide to join us with the retreat. I don't know anyone who has regretted that experience. And for some people, it's led to different kinds of spiritual openings. Okay, so that's coming up in August. And also we're going to be doing one in Trinidad in the winter, in first week, I think, of February. So you can put that on your schedule if you like. So we'll be doing at least 2 retreats, 2 5-day retreats, hopefully, every year. That will be our annual, one in Canada in August and one in Trinidad in February, in the middle of the winter, for those who want to escape the snow and the ice and everything else and get to a tropical place. Okay, so that's a footnote, an ad for our retreat. Now, what I'm going to be doing in this series of seminars is going through my experience with each of the shiyukh, the principal shiyukh, in my path. There were many other people that I learned from, even in medicine and psychiatry, but these are my principal Sufi shiyukh, starting with Pir Vilayat Khan and moving from there to Sheikh Muhammad Jamal in Jerusalem, then to Bawa Muhyiddin in Philadelphia and Sri Lanka, and from there Sheikh Nazim Naqshbandi, who's the one I spent the most time with, and from Sheikh Nazim to Sheikh Nuh, the American living in Jordan, and from Sheikh Nuh to Sheikh Abu Qasim Bilkhairi, who's in Erdef, Tunisia, my last Sheikh. Okay, so you see it's been a long, varied journey, and we'll have something to say about what I learned and what I experienced with each of these different teachers. Now, I also wanted to say something because it's come up fairly recently. If you want the background, from whence, to speak British, from whence it came, the spiritual journey. Of course, it came from Allah, ultimately, but there was some background, and I just had occasion recently to talk about probably my first spiritual teacher ever, because of the whole issue going on in Harvard and Trump attacking the universities and all the progressives trying to defend them. Probably my first spiritual teacher was an American called Stephen Gaskin, probably not well known. Some people know his wife Ina May because she did a lot of work around childbirth. But Stephen Gaskin was his own spiritual teacher, if you want, and he was, interestingly enough, he was a professor at the University of California, San Francisco, in English literature, and a tenured professor. And he realized that every honest academic with integrity, of which there are actually quite few, realizes over time that the mind is a very poor servant, and he got fed up with teaching at the university, but he had a lot of students who loved him, so he decided to leave. He left with about 1,000 of his students, and they all went to Tennessee to establish probably the largest intentional community in American history called The Farm. I went to visit it for a few days, but it wasn't what I needed at that point in time. It was a very interesting place. And Stephen Gaskin, upon leaving UCSF, made the following statement, which I think everyone should pay attention to. He said, a university degree is as much, he speaks a little bit Southern American, as much of a bar, if you don't get that term, which I didn't originally. A university degree is as much of an obstacle to enlightenment as having a bad character. So he'd be on the side of Trump. Good. Trump is now saying, I'm going to establish trade schools instead of you. Yay! And farms and intentional communities with spiritual values. These universities are a lost cause. I used to go a lot to Cambridge, Massachusetts for my psychiatric continuing medical education, and I'd often drop by Harvard Square and then Harvard. That place has a vibe. I can't even compare it. You get on that campus if you have spiritual awareness, and you can feel the darkness. You can feel the dark. It's more obvious. There was a fair amount at McGill, where I studied. MIT actually has a better vibe. I guess it's more modern. Harvard has the accumulation of hundreds of years of intellectual nonsense going on. So you can feel the bad vibe. So when Trump attacks it, go Trump, go. In that sense, he makes a lot of mistakes, but I think he's on a certain track here. Making the universities the epitome of the values of your society is a huge metaphysical and spiritual error. And the people who know this the best are the people from the Indian subcontinent. Buddhism and Hinduism has long known the limitations of the mind, and that the mind is more of an obstacle than an asset in your search for truth. But the modern world doesn't seem to have registered that yet, and maybe they eventually will. Now they're trying to upgrade the mind with AI, which is just more mind productions, better organized and amped up on whatever the technology is. No real solutions there, guaranteed. It's all mind products. Okay. So that was Stephen Gaskin. And I used to listen to a lot of his talks. I remember I had them on those tapes, the old tapes that you used to play, not the visual ones, the audio tapes that you would put into your tape recorder. So yeah, I used to listen to him. He had a lot of things to say, no doubt. The next thing I wanted to mention was the Gestaltists. This is also part of the backdrop, if you want, of my spiritual journey. And the Gestaltists were also onto this problem. It's amazing that we're 60, 70, 80 years after these things, and still people are looking for the answers in their mind. Well, Fritz Perls wrote a book, which I recommend to anyone who's interested in psychology, called Gestalt Therapy Verbatim. And on the, I don't know what they call it, front piece or something of the book, just before the introduction and the summary of contents, he has in bold letters, lose your mind and come to your senses. Now, he'd had the experience of spending a lot of time with German psychoanalysts, so he knew what it was like to be obsessed with your mind productions. Lose your mind and come to your senses. That's what the Gestalt people were teaching us, how to come to the here and now. Okay? There's a lot more to say about that. And the third person backdrop that I wanted to mention is Krishnamurti, because, and this has come up in a few discussions I've had with other people, Krishnamurti, he said a lot of things, a very interesting guy to read, definitely a Gnostic, not a follower of any religion. But one of Krishnamurti's most important points is that consciousness itself changes things. It doesn't only change your awareness, it changes things objectively. Why do I say that? Because when you become aware of something and you point it out to other people, they will look at you and say it, and they don't get it, which is most often the case. They don't get it. They say, well, what can we do about it? Even if we're aware, what can we do about it? And really, these questions they're trying to doubt you and undermine you most of the time. If you watch the journalists with the politicians, they do this all the time. What can we do about it? Okay? And what they're trying to do is undermine what the politicians are saying. So, sir, for sure, if you're talking something more abstract than politics, people will ask you, so what do we do now? Well, Krishnamurti indicated maybe you don't have to do anything. Just the awareness of it is enough. And I've seen that playing out often. So be aware of those people. The psychoanalysts called them the yes but people. They were very smart, those psychoanalysts. Or on the other hand people. They're really trying to undermine you in the name of completing the information. They're trying to sabotage the message that you're trying to pass on. So if you see something clearly, something changes after that. It's kind of ajib. It's almost miraculous. If you really see someone for who they are, they will start behaving differently without you doing anything. Nothing at all. Doesn't make rational, logical sense, thank God, because most truth doesn't make rational, logical sense, despite what they teach you at Harvard. So watch it and notice it. But of course, in order to get to the awareness, okay, then we'll go back to our starting point. You have to do some spiritual practice. You can't just say, I'm going to be aware. No. You have to lift the veils of the mind, of thought productions, of emotions, of what the Buddhists call attachment and aversion. You have to lift all those veils, and then seeing is natural. And once you see, something changes, just through the seeing, just through being aware of it. Okay, so all of that is the backdrop to this new series of sessions, videos on the Shuf that I've studied with, and also for the retreat. You're all welcome, and you can all get back to me in any way you want if you have questions, either through this YouTube site or through our blog site, SufiPilgrimsProgress.com. Even if you put my name in the internet now, Joel Ibrahim Krebs, in Google, you'll get ways of contacting us. We look forward to seeing you. We hope this series is going to be helpful for your understanding of Sufism, and we can, as they say in Britain, we stay calm and carry on, even though most often people dismiss us, to be honest. Most often people don't listen to anything we say, and we're trying to work on getting used to that. What can you do? You know, they've been telling people, I follow the FLCCC people and the critics of the vaccine, they've been talking about the dangers for 5 years on so many different media, and still the official doctors are saying, vaccines, safe and effective. So Another big problem in the modern world is deafness. Most people are deaf. They're stuck in their own mind productions. They can't hear anything else. Anyway, I hope you, the people listening here, are not of those, and they want to learn and they want to lift the veil so they can hear and see properly, and that's what we're here for, to do, to help you do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. See you again soon.